another edition of Wings Weekly. Jake Kleinknecht here along with head coach Francis Anzalone. And coach, a lot of hockey being played over these 2-week span, and then of course down the final push towards the playoffs. Your team able to pull 3 points out of 4 possible over the weekend, and 6 of the last 10 wins, or of the last 10 games anyway, wins. And playing pretty good, pretty aggressive hockey right now. And you guys go score first on Friday night. Cole Thompson gets his first goal in the NAHL, so congratulations to him. You go up, end up going to overtime in what was the 17th overtime game. And we haven't even gotten to Saturday yet, but a lot of overtime games being played. You guys able to pull a point away in that loss, but certainly some good things that you can take away from Friday night's game. What were your overall thoughts?
I thought on Friday night we worked pretty hard. We pushed the pace. I didn't think we were skating great in the beginning. I thought we got our legs going as the game progressed and moved along. The story for me on Friday night, is we had a lot of odd man rushes and a lot of looks where we were 2-on-1 at the net, 3-on-2 off the rush, even 3-on-1, and we just didn't finish. We didn't capitalize. We didn't bury. I thought at times we complicated our game with the puck, but we still had a lot of good looks and a lot of good chances. We just couldn't find a way to put the puck over the goal line and score one more than they did. That was a beautiful pass from Fitzgerald to Thompson, who jumped up in the play. Kind of to your point about being aggressive, that not only means skating and finishing checks, but also getting your people up in the play, especially your defensemen. We like to attack by presence versus true position. We give our D the green light and the freedom to activate and jump up in the play. Cole did that, beautiful goal. Yes, congrats to him on his first NAHL goal. And then, in the third period, we had one mistake on rush coverage, one mistake on a hunt, and it was in our net. I thought our goalie played well, gave us a chance. We had an unbelievable look in the overtime to win the game, and their kid, Gerasimov, made a really good save. And then they score the shootout. We don't. That's hockey. So pretty good point on the road. Would have liked to have seen us finish and play a little simpler in certain circumstances. But I thought we adjusted, we listened to the message on Saturday morning, and we showed growth on Saturday night.
Without a doubt. Friday, one of the things that stuck out in my mind was the amount of puck possession, the amount of time, extended zone time. And, we talked about it Saturday night pregame, that even in the penalty kill, during the penalty kill, the Wings had so much control that it almost felt to me as if they were on a power play, because they just were able to dictate and where the puck was going so much during that Friday night game, that I think, again, as you said, it allowed a lot of good scoring opportunities. There were a handful of open back doors that just were a pass or a rebound was just off the toe of a stick, and some real close calls, as you said. Now, as you mentioned, you move on to Saturday night. Now, Saturday night, they get up early. In the first 5 minutes, I believe it was, they get a goal, and your team has to push back, just like the Magicians did on Friday night. Interesting thing to me about Saturday night was that game had a lot more flow to it and a lot more speed, it seemed like, than the night before. And usually it's the other way around, where Saturday night is a little bit more of a grinder's game. But the Saturday night game, to me anyway, seemed like there was a lot more movement and a lot more a faster pace game. Then and again, possession was important. Your special teams did a great job again, and the kills has been very strong lately. In fact, in both the kill and power play, moving up a spot on the rankings, but getting a shorthanded goal and a power play goal in Saturday night's game. So again, some very positive things there. What do you take away from Saturday?
I was really proud of our team on Saturday night for a couple reasons. Here's the biggest reason. It was our third game of the week. We know we're in a tough stretch right now with road travel, 7 games in 14 days. We get all that. Earlier in the year, I don't know that we would have played as hard, as simple, and as greasy as we did in that Saturday night game in Richfield. We're starting to learn that, of course, the legs get tired. Of course, the arms get tired. But tired can be a mindset if you let it be a mindset. You can beat that mindset. Your brain can tell your legs you're fine. And when your brain's not doing that job, that's when you got to let your heart take over. I'm not trying to give you my best Lombardi motivational speech or get the viewers up off the couch or anything like that. But we did a real good job on Saturday night of pushing. We were at the net more. We finished our checks more. We pursued more. We jammed the puck at the goalie's feet more. It's like I told our guys this morning, you're all copycatters. Once Payne jams a puck in, now everybody wants to jam the puck at the net. So we've got to have like a battle in the locker room, Jay, to see who can be the first cool guy on the team tomorrow night to bang the puck off Shepard's feet, because that's how you have to score against Bismarck, get those greasy goals around the paint. And then it's interesting, all that grease, all that good work ethic, and you're right, we moved the puck better. We moved the puck better because of it. We had some really good passes and some really good scoring chances off of pretty passes and pretty plays, because I thought we got to what we call the grease early in that game. And we had a good third period. Austin Heekins, unbelievable individual work on the kill to have the puck in. Will Hammer supported in just the right spot. Heeks got Hammer the puck, catch shoot we call it, put us up 3-2. And then Pierce Crawford, their forward, nice shot down the wing, beats Peter 3-3. And we stuck with it, and Carter Rue found a way to make a hell of a play in overtime and score a hell of a goal. So good for us getting 3 or 4 points. They did too. But we went in there and we found a way to increase the gap between us and them a little bit and give ourselves like a millimeter of breathing room.
Yeah.
Just that much though.
Well, and over the Magicians, but now 6-point lead over the Brookings Blizzard as the Blizzard were swept this weekend. So as we've talked about, each one of these games has a lot of meaning, of course, and every point, every hard-fought point is going to come down to the very last game, I have the feeling, in the standings, and go to see who it is that will get that final playoff spot. Coach, you talked about a lot of hockey going on here, 7 games in 14 days. You turn around and have to go up to Bismarck Tuesday, then they come back down here Friday, a team that you've struggled with so far in this 2015-2016 season. And going back a little bit, Friday night, you guys shots on goal the first 2 periods, I think, were 19. But then on Saturday, wow, I mean, you guys were just able to pour shots on goal, and I think there ended up being 41 with the overtime on Friday night. And I don't even know on the overtime on Saturday.
Well, we had over 50.
Yeah.
I think we were around 53, somewhere in that ballpark, which we wouldn't have been saying that 3 months ago, so good for us.
And I want to say it was 44, 45, something like that, even in regulation. So, again, pouring the puck, testing Gerasimov, and I got to believe that Hunter Shepard, that those are going to be the same kinds of things that you're going to need to do. You mentioned the greasy goals down low in the, around the crease and stuff, where he's having to make 1, 2, 3 saves at a time. Because again, over the last 10 meetings, I believe it's been now with the Bobcats, they've been able to win all of them so far. So what do you see? And again, you mentioned the greasy goals around Shepard. What else do you see as keys coming up for these next 2 games against the Bobcats?
Well, first of all, confidence. We haven't beaten them yet, you're right. There's been a lot of 1-goal games where they've just scored 1 more goal than we have. I look at our maturation against this Bismarck team. Our first game against them back in October in this building, we were losing every puck battle. They were just out-muscling us. They were out-willing us. They were trying to say to Aberdeen, hey, we're the older team, we're the better team, we're the wiser team, we're going to do all the hard things that you need to do to win. And we've closed that gap a little bit. These games have been competitive. These games have been tight. I will say, and this is not an excuse, we've had 0 puck luck against these guys. We're going to need a little bit of that, but we've got to make our own breaks. And it's like I told the guys this morning, I'll be very honest with the viewers, let you in the room a little bit. I kind of did a 180 with them. We're in the hunt. We're in the playoffs right now. Those previous 9 or 10 we've played them, however many it's been, it doesn't matter. We're in the hunt. All that matters is that tomorrow night in Bismarck, North Dakota, it's the biggest game of the year. We've got to get off the bus with a playoff mindset, if you will. We have to pursue the puck. We have to have our legs. We have to finish checks. We have to understand that a finesse game is probably not going to work against them. Yeah. Will a finesse play work every once in a while? Sure it will. It's a 60-minute game. But we have to get in on the forecheck. Like I said, we have to finish checks. We have to be really good defensively. We have to own our doorstep. And then when we get the odd man rushes, like Tuesday in Minot, for example, we had way more odd man rushes than I would have ever guessed we would have had against Minot. We missed the net a lot. When we get those chances against a top team like Bismarck, we've got to find a way to take a simple shot, hit the net, maybe bang in the next one. And then once we just chip away a little at a time, when we get that odd man rush late in the game, we'll score on the direct shot. That's just how it, again, when you watch Wings Weekly, it's real. Like, we could have just paused the tape and started over, right? So maybe that's a sign.
Yeah, you never
Play
know.
fast, just keep coming.
Give Jay a heart attack. Yeah, I mean, you're right, though. I mean, going in, it's down the stretch. That's all that's left. You know, you don't worry about what has happened in the past against the Bobcats. It's just a matter of finding a way, as you said, and there's certainly some keys there. Well, I tell you what, we're going to talk a little bit more, perhaps, about the upcoming games and about what the playoffs will bring, or I should say, what getting into the playoffs will bring, and maybe a little bit about the mindset. Also want to touch a little bit about Aberdeen Wings fans making the trip all the way over to Richmond to cheer on their Wings. So we'll talk a little bit more after we return, after these words from our sponsors.
Let's make a taco. No, seriously. Start with a tortilla, soft tortilla. Warm it, kiss it. Don't kiss it. Chicken? How about tequila lime chicken? Now we're cooking. Slice this, peel that, snip those. Salsa? Verde. Cheese? Cotija. Oh, forgot to mention. Guac. That's better. See, anyone can make a taco, but we're not anyone. We're Qdoba, and these are knockout tacos. Qdoba Mexican Eats. Choose flavor.
Back to Wings Weekly, and Coach Anzalone, of course, we continue our conversation here. You know, we were kind of finishing up talking about the Bobcats and what you have to do to beat them coming up Tuesday and then Friday here in the ODI Center. And you mentioned, you know, that the heck with the past games against this team and what you have to do to move forward against the Bobcats. But then against every team down the stretch. Then you've got Brookings, and then Brookings here. Then you've got Austin, a handful of games against them. And really, with this final push, you know, into the playoffs, as we talked about, every game is going to be huge and so on. But I talked to you a little bit in the locker room. I think it was Friday night pregame about the temperature of the locker room and about what these guys are, you know, maybe what they're talking about, what they're feeling. Is there a little bit of added excitement knowing that they're in control of their own destiny? And, you know, maybe you could kind of share with the viewers a little bit about how, as a whole, you know, is there a little added intensity, a little added excitement for each one of these games, even though it is a grind in these last few weeks? But you got to feel, or I would think anyway, and maybe it's a better question for for the players, but when you know that brass ring is right there, you know that it's a little easier to dig a little deeper, I would think. What are your thoughts on that?
That's an interesting question. I was talking to an NHL scout before the game on Friday, and I said, gosh, I said, this is a real big one for our team tonight. And he said, who are you kidding? Every game for you since the Christmas break's been big. Every game for you's been like a playoff game. And he's right. It's a real good point. So from that standpoint, we're really just going about our business. And I'm sure there's people out there saying to themselves right now, gosh, every coach says the same thing. But it's the truth. As I've said to you before, I think it may have been on last week's show, we've had our most success around here when we've just worried about our process, getting 3 to 5% better each day, and then just trying to attack the first 5 minutes. That's what we talked about going into the game on Saturday. Let's have a great first 5 minutes. Let's create a foundation. Then let's get after it in the next 5. We've played 10. Then in minute 11, we do it again, and we just keep coming, and we keep coming, and we keep coming, and by the end of the night, we have to trust that we're going to like where we are. That's really how we're going about this last push, as you call it. Hey, setting short-term goals and going a little bit at a time has gotten our heads slightly above water, or given us, I think I used like a millimeter of breathing space. Mm-hmm. It's given us an ounce of room. It's gotten us to this point where we're in fourth by a hair. So we might as well stick with it. It's worked to get us back above water, at least in the playoff spot. So let's dig into this mindset. Let's get after the first 5 minutes tomorrow, and let's see where we go. I just find with these teenage athletes today, and maybe all athletes for that matter, those short-term incremental goals make the task feel less daunting. I mean, we're going into old Big Bad Bismarck tomorrow, VFW Arena. We haven't beaten them yet. We just got to attack the first 5 minutes. If we do that, we've got to trust the rest will take care of itself, with hard work, of course.
It's interesting because, you know, it is kind of an instant gratification society right now, and that's a good point. You know, you keep the focus small, and then, well, they say, aim small, miss small. So there you go. It's
very interesting coming to the rink each day and preparing your players and learning what they respond to. I tell our guys all the time, I'm learning. We're all learning together. We're all in this together. And one thing I've learned in my short time doing this is just my experience, is that the players today really respond well to just short, simple messages that focus on the short term.
Well, no, makes sense. Coach, I wanted to talk a little bit about Richfield Arena. Well, it's got its own challenges with the benches behind each other and so on. A lot of different weird things about that building. But how cool was it to have some 30 Aberdeen Wings fans in that building, some of which made the trip over for, maybe make a weekend out of it, but took in games. Others were there as billet parents, and then a lot of the players' parents, especially from that area, making travel a little easier and so on, were there to cheer on the Wings too. And I had to laugh and took a moment to brag at the passion that the Aberdeen Wings fans have. As we pull in 1,200, 1,300, 1,400 people into the ODI Center on a regular basis, and there maybe were 500 people in that building, and as I said, the loudest portion of them were Wings fans. So I'm sure you'll echo the statement, but I just want to thank all the Wings fans who travel and who continue to encourage and support this team. It's just great to see. But is it and I've noticed that in Brookings before too. There's times that I think Gordie Brown said at one point, he was listening to a broadcast and he had said that it sounded like a home game, in the Larson Ice Center. So does that add a little bit of a boost to your team, do you think, on the road when you have that support that's following you?
It does, and you mentioned Richfield Arena, and I know we had a great following at the game on Friday. I really heard them on Saturday for some reason. That's probably more me than anything else. But you talked about the benches, the way it's like you're in a military bunker in that bench, the way it's shaped. So when you're standing on the bench, as I was as a coach, you really don't see or feel anything going on around you,
right?
Because you're bunkered in. But Saturday, when we scored that goal, I heard cowbells and I heard people cheering. I had to dip my head up to look, and I couldn't believe the number of people sitting by our bench. And it's fantastic. And not to get on a soapbox here or anything, but I just think it's been a real cool season. And there's a lot of time left, and a lot can happen. But I just even going out with our last skate with the Wings and talking to some of the fans, hearing them talk about the guys pursuing pucks and blocking shots and playing for each other. I think that a lot of our fans have really come on board beyond just cheering for goals, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I really sense a lot of process coming from our fans. And that's really, really exciting for me, because I hear people cheer at moments in the game where maybe they wouldn't have cheered in the past. And that just shows me that the people are really into it. And we got to make sure we keep doing our part to keep the fans into it. Hopefully we just keep playing real good hockey and we get into the playoffs. We're going to try our best. But you people have really helped us, especially here at home. I think we can all admit this is a different group at home this year. They're on their toes, they play fast, and they love the home crowd, and they're feeding off of it. So keep bringing it. Even in Richfield, Minnesota. We hear you, we see you, it's outstanding, it's helping us. And I'll look forward to when we go to Brookings here in a couple weeks, trying to outdraw those Blizzard fans at Larson Ice Center.
Yeah, you gotta love it when the Brookings fans are holding up signs saying "No more bells" because
do they really?
Yeah, because all of the Wings fans have the cowbells shaking and rattling and making much more noise than them. They're not even cheering for their team; they're cheering against our fans. So I thought that was kind of funny.
That's great.
But you raise a very interesting point. Whether it's a big save at a key moment, somebody with a big check or a sacrificing the body to block a shot, you're right. You're hearing it from the crowd, and I think that they're kind of echoing the bench too. The bench with the stick taps and so on. That everybody they're recognizing that these guys are laying it on the line for sure. It's never been a question of the level of effort. I would say.
Well, we appreciate that, because I've just been places where when it doesn't go right, the crowd quits on the players, and then you want to talk about daunting, but not here. And it really helps. I can remember, this would be my last point on this, we played Austin earlier in the year on a Saturday night, and I think we lost 5-1 or 5-2 or something like that. And we played so hard, we got no puck luck, we struggled to finish. And I could just remember at the end of the night, 3 minutes left, I could hear people chanting, "Let's go Wings." And at the end of the game, the people were standing up and applauding and cheering. And you have no idea what that does for these young men, and what it does to their mindset to know that. It supports my message, because winning is very, very important. We talk about doing it right. We talk about working hard. We talk about the process. When the players then kind of see and hear the fans, their actions following that message, boy, it just helps. Because I can imagine with your kids, when you and your wife are on the same page, it's probably easier.
Yeah.
When the assistant coach and the head coach are on the same page. Well, now when it's the coach and 1,000 people, 1,500 people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 1,500 people helping 20 players get better.
Yeah.
It might sound corny, but it's huge. Every little bit helps at the junior level.
Without a doubt. All right, well, that'll pretty much wrap up this week's Wings Weekly. Again, the Wings in action Tuesday night in Bismarck at the VFW Center, 7:15 puck drop. You can hear that on 94.1 The Rock or fasthockey.com. Then Friday night here at the Odie against the Bismarck Bobcats again. So I want to encourage everybody to come on out to the Odie and cheer on the Wings as, again, they make this these final games and try to make every one of them count with adding points and adding checks in that win column. So again, Coach, thanks for taking some time to join us here, and thank you all for watching this week's Wings Weekly.